Yo, what up, my fam? Terrible, just terrible vibes all around. Jonathan's back. Evan's, of course, back. Let's just get it started. I am open to be roasted tonight, so here we go.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left, beat left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
What is going on, everybody? Before we get anything started, we always got to thank our sponsors. Our sponsor tonight is Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, anything, you name it, topicals. Use that promo code A2D. You get 20% off your order at bodycheckwellness.com. Let's get into it, boys. Jonathan, thank you for joining us tonight. I needed you to come on. I needed you to tell me that you were right and I was wrong. Evan, you're, of course, going to be able to do that tonight. Before I start anything off, before I do anything, I need to get this off my chest. People comparing Ben Simmons to Carson Wentz, it's not even close. Because in big games, Carson gave you heart. Carson gave you heart. Ben Simmons, I'm going to say it right now. You failed Philadelphia. You failed this organization. You failed everybody that believed in you, including myself. You failed Joel Embiid. You failed Tobias Harris. You failed Doc Rivers. You failed Daryl Morey. Doc Rivers and Daryl Morey, they were going to trade you for James Harden. What happens if that trade goes through? Are we in the finals? We're in the finals. We get a ring. I'll admit it. I was wrong. Ben Simmons, you were at the top of the ladder of people to blame for what happened this playoff run. I'm not saying you're by yourself. I'm not going to be all, I'm off the Ben love wagon or whatever. I'm not on the Ben hate wagon. There's a lot of things we need to evaluate. There's a lot of things we need to think about before anything happens with this organization, because you're caught up right now. You have no money. All of your money is invested in Joel Embiid, a top 3 basketball player in the world. That shrinks in elimination games. Let me tell you, he does. We'll get to Joel Embiid later. Tobias Harris, who's getting paid more than Ben Simmons, gives you 4 points in a game 4. If we win that game 4, is this game 7 even happening? We'll talk about Tobias Harris later. And then the rest of the money is in Ben, a dude that has shot the ball 6 times in the fourth quarter through 7 games in a conference semifinal game. Ben, you got to do better, dude. I don't know what's going to happen. That could have been your last game as a Philadelphia 76er. But now that I got that off my chest, I will introduce the family that is with me tonight. Of course, Evan, and then Jonathan. Evan, I'll start with you. Let me just hear your thoughts about what happened this series.
Jamie, I'm not gonna lie. I've been telling you that for years, and I'm glad you finally brought it to light. I thought it was something that had to be addressed. Obviously, after a just stunning game, like by the Hawks, like just they. I feel like it was more just the Hawks won this series and the Sixers lost this series. You can I can agree where people say that's not true, because we did blow a 26-point lead, then we blew a 22-point lead. Like, that's just us not doing what we're supposed to do at the end of the night. And I'm not going to put all the blame on Ben. This isn't going to be a total slander Ben show, but it kind of is at the same time. You did have that 4-point game by Tobias that probably would have sent us to this Eastern Conference Finals, but man, like we were saying before, Jimmy, we were saying that we needed at least 15 from Ben a night. And I don't even think Ben had more than 3 15-point games this whole playoff run. I mean, at the end of the day, points on everything. He had his great, like that first game against the Wizards where he had that 15 rebound, 15 assists. That's all great and stuff. But once you get to play those better teams, you gotta you got to have some sort of offensive game. And if you can't make your shots, if you can't make your layups, can't dunk the fucking ball when you're 2 feet from the rim, like, I don't know what else you want.
That is another thing I would like to talk about later on in the show. This team had, they tried. I don't know if they tried their best. It's not a lack of heart. It's a lack of not wanting it more than the Hawks. And I saw that. I saw the inexperience, and I saw it in the post-game press conference, and it started with the coach. Nobody put it on themselves. Every single person that got interviewed after that Game 7 threw blame around. Nobody just accepted it. There's no leader on this team. If you have Jimmy Butler, you win.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, John. How you doing tonight?
You done, Evan?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
First of all, the first time I came onto this podcast, we had a conversation that was similar to this. We were talking about whether or not the Sixers should get Kyle Lowry. And I told Jimmy, Kyle Lowry should be traded for because when it comes playoff time, you won't be able to rely on Ben late in games. He swore up and down that we were going to get playoff Ben, that make the All-Star team Ben isn't a real thing, which I think it is, because how do you score all those points before the All-Star break and after the All-Star break? You're basically an afterthought of the team, unplayable down the stretch. Second of all, I do believe that Ben Simmons deserves a majority of the blame, but like y'all said, not 100% of the blame, because everybody played a role in this happening. 8 turnovers by Embiid in that last game. That can't happen, especially that late game turnover when you have Gallinari on you. Tobias, that 4-point game. And not only that, he was just overall inefficient throughout the series. But one thing I can say about those two is they're giving it their all. Like, Tobias took 24 shots. If he was going down, he was going down swinging. And Embiid, obviously, playing on the torn meniscus, or partially torn meniscus, dropping 32 points, 12 rebounds, going all out. You can't really blame them. Obviously, can't blame Steph Curry. He gave it his all as well. He was basically your most consistent player of the whole series. But Ben, it's just I see this little like this headline going around that he's going to be working on his game this summer and that Doc wants to work with him. But what is Doc a psychiatrist? Is he somebody that's going to help him mentally? Because if he's not, what can Doc help him with? There's nothing wrong with his actual game. It's the fact that he's mentally weak. He mentally decides that I'm going to check out. I'm not going to be aggressive. Not only am I not going to be aggressive, but I'm not going to put myself in positions to be successful. If you're a person that knows he can't shoot, when you get in the block, use your size to your advantage. Don't just get in the block and it's like, all right, I'm looking to pass. When you have Danilo Gallinari on you who moves like an 80-year-old, run right by him, get one drop step, hook shot, it's a layup. You miss, there's still a chance for an offensive rebound. There's a chance you can tip it back in. Or if you get fouled, who cares? Giannis isn't a great free throw shooter. He doesn't care. He's going to the hole every single night. He's never going to. When have you ever seen Giannis in a series or during the course of a game change the way he's playing because he doesn't want to get fouled?
Never. And it's what I've been saying all year. I've been saying I want to keep Ben Simmons because he will never outshoot us out of a basketball game. Well, it's the complete opposite, only it's affecting us more. It's affecting us more because you're not doing anything on the offensive side of the ball. The only thing you do well on the offensive side of the ball is when you get the ball out in transition and you make an excellent pass, or you just outpower everybody, put your head down and dunk the ball. That's the only thing right you do on offense. And I've said it the last time John was on the podcast. I said it when Tom and DJ were on the podcast with us. I said that Ben is hiding his film. I was a fucking fool for saying that. He wasn't hiding shit. There's something wrong with him. There's literally something wrong with his head.
He's got the yips.
I tried to warn you. I was
wrong. And I was wrong.
And then I even texted you in the first round, and I tweeted about it when the whole Hack of Ben first started. I told you, I said, Jimmy, be careful. It's not going to affect you now, but when it matters most, he will be unplayable. You're not going to win when your point guard, because he is your point guard. I know you look at him as a point forward, but at the end of the day, on this team, he's your point guard. If your point guard and your best defender is off the court, like he was at the end of the stretch in Game 5 when you blew that big lead and Trae Young started torching Shake Milton, you're going to lose the game. And now look, You're home.
Yeah.
And it's so many people. There's so many people. For example, my cousin Bebe, shout out to him. He's watching. He was a Ben Simmons lover. After this series, he texted me. He said, "Man, you were right. I'm done with him."
And I told you that after I watched the game yesterday. I
Yeah.
FaceTimed. We were talking. I was wrong. I was wrong about the whole thing. It does not mean I'm ready to place all of the blame on him. It's not ready. I'm not ready to trade him for a bag of chips.
Yeah.
It's time to evaluate. It's time to see what you can get. Because I said it last night. He's a sad man's Draymond Green right now. That's what he is. That's exactly what he is. And people were telling me that 4 months ago. People were telling me that a year ago. People were telling me that when he had the best stretch of his career 2 years ago before COVID. And I was blind.
And I asked Jim, I said, do you want me to I asked him, I said, here's what I'll do for you. If you want me to lower my standards for Ben and look at him as just somebody that's going to be a solid player, a nice little role player, I'll do so. But if I'm going to do that, you have to do that as well. And he told me, he's only 24. He's going to be a superstar. He's playoff Ben, all of that. Well, now you're home. And it's a big majority of the blame for it is him. And another person I want to talk about, because also on that podcast, I brought this up because my favorite player is Paul George, Mr. Doc Rivers. All that stuff he talked about Tyronn Lue, about Paul George, about how, they're running the same offense that we ran. Well, guess what? Kawhi was out for game 5 and 6 in the Clippers series, and the Clippers moved on. Doc Rivers has Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, and Tobias Harris, and couldn't make it past a Hawks team who was missing two of their best forwards in DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, and practically was missing their third best guard/forward in Bogdanovich because he was a nobody in game 6 and 7 with his knee problems. Yep. And he still couldn't get past him.
And you want to know what that shows? That shows that the Hawks wanted it more than you did. And I know I was bitching the whole series about the calls, the refereeing, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, you got to adjust to it. And Doc, the way he handled that situation, it affected the team. Because when the team sees that you have those facial expressions after every call, you got to stay cool as a cucumber as a head coach. That's why Jay Wright is one of the best basketball coaches I've ever seen. He always stays calm no matter what happens. You need to set an example for your team. And you didn't set that example. The whole series, the Wizards series, the whole season, it comes to the point where you can't be that much of a player's coach. You got to coach. It looked like I saw Brett Brown. The whole fucking series, it looked like I saw Brett Brown.
That's exactly what Paul George talked about, too. He said when they were up 3-1, when they lost game 5, he said Doc and the locker room were just like, we'll win the next one. And when they lost game 6, they were like, all right, we'll win the next one. And then game 7 comes and you're down, and it's like there were no adjustments. It was just like, we're just relying on our talent. There's no way we're going to lose to a team like the Nuggets rather than adjusting. And I feel like you saw some of that in the Sixers. What adjustments did they really make throughout that series? And B was still getting the ball.
There was not. John, you want to know what the adjustment was? Game 1, Trey was shitting on Danny Green. The second half of game 1, he started trapping Trae Young. Trae Young started to get a little flustered. That's why we made that little comeback, but ended up losing. Game 2, you put Ben on him. You win game 2, or you win game 3. Game 4 happens. You have an 18-point lead because Ben is on Trae Young. You blow that lead. When you blow leads like that in game 4 and game 5 of a conference semifinal, it means A, there's bad coaching. B, your bench sucks. And C, you don't have a leader. Nobody has the balls to be the leader. Nobody has the balls to say, this is what we're going to go do, gentlemen. We can't blow this lead. And Pete, I want to get to Pete. How we doing? We appreciate the contribution. Catch Pete all over A2D throughout the week. He says, give me Lonzo and Ingram for Simmons and Tybalt. I'm not ready to talk trade right now. Maybe in a couple weeks, because everybody's on the table. Nobody's untouchable on this team. And and book it, that includes 21. That includes a top 3 player, top 5 player in the world. This team has a lot of thinking to do. Because if you don't think Joel Embiid is injury prone, I don't know what to tell you. A lot of things need to be evaluated. Because what are you going to do? You're going to trade Ben Simmons for a Zach LaVine or a CJ McCollum, and then the moment Joel Embiid goes down, you turn into the Bulls, or you turn into a sad man's version of the Blazers. What have those guys done? You have them with Tobias, the friendly ghost. We'll talk about that later on in the summer. There's no time for that right now. Well, let me get to the poll. I'll start off with Evan on this one. Ben Simmons is the most to blame for the Sixers' disappointing postseason run. Agree or disagree?
I'm going to go out a limb and say I'm going to say maybe I agree with this poll, but at the same time, I do put most of this on Doc Rivers. I mean, at the end of the day, Doc Rivers was the coach when we blew those leads. If we didn't blow those leads by 26? Yeah, 26 points, we would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. And a good coach never lets that shit happen. So, I mean, Ben Simmons did have his bad series, and he was. I mean, that bad is an understatement, Jimmy. Bad is.
Yo, catch Tori outside. Catch Tori outside.
That is an understatement, man. So I agree. I agree. It's both Ben and Doc, but I also agree with John said. Like, what the hell is Doc Rivers going to do with Ben? What the hell is he going to do? There's really nothing to evaluate.
It's what my brother did. It's what my brother said. You put him in the power forward role. You try and find a legitimate point guard. It's the only thing you could do, right, F? Unless you trade him.
Honestly, the only thing I'm thinking of, you keep him and then you try to increase his value somehow, because I know you didn't want to talk trades, but I was just saying, you're not going to get shit after what people just saw with Ben Simmons. If you try to increase his trade value somehow, you got to do it, because I don't know. You just got to.
And here's one thing I'm going to say. I don't agree with putting him in the power forward role, because Ben's his strength is his ability to handle and pass the ball for his size. If you have him as a power forward or somebody who's not going to have the ball in his hands the majority of the time, he's not going to be able to exhibit his strengths. His thing is just all mental. Nothing's wrong with his actual game. It's all mental. And I feel as though,
and that's hard to fix.
Yeah, it's something hard to fix, but I feel as though a change of scenery or something. But like you said, we're not going to get into that right now. In terms of the poll, I agree. I agree with it. He is the most to blame, and then Doc would be second. But if we're talking about most to blame, it's Ben. Just for the simple fact that you're getting paid $180 million. This is I won't count the bubble because he wasn't there. This is your third time in the playoffs. There's no reason you should play worse and worse as the year goes on. As the years go on, there's no reason you should get worse. You should learn off of what's going on. Not only that, at the games 1 and 2 where he struggled, he came out and said he has to play better. If you're telling yourself you have to play better, why is it that your shot attempts go down? Why is it that your aggression goes down? Why are all these things going down if you're telling yourself you have to play better? I don't want to hear yourself saying, I want to play better. Prove it. You have the game. You can be aggressive. You're 6'10". Who on that team with DeAndre Hunter out, with John Collins on Tobias Harris, who on that team can guard Ben Simmons when he's aggressive?
John, it's what I've been saying the last 3 weeks on the podcast. There's nobody on that team that can guard any of you guys. There's no reason why you should have lost that game. It comes in part to Ben Simmons. I know a lot of people like to say, a lot of the Ben defenders, I was one of them. I was probably the head of the Ben Simmons cult, per se, saying he makes everybody on the offense better. But in a Game 7 situation, when you rewatch the Raptors Game 7, when you rewatch all 5 games of the Boston series, when it was Joe and Ben's first year together in the playoffs, he shrinks in the big games and he puts his teammates in bitter situations. For example, yesterday when he didn't just dunk the ball instead of throwing it into a double team of Matisse Thybulle. Yeah, he got fouled, but Matisse sucks at the free throw line. By the way, the whole team missed free throws yesterday.
Yeah.
Big free throws.
That's just discipline. Honestly, that's just discipline. Maybe with Ben it's different, but for everybody else, that's just you got to be disciplined.
It's called not holding each other accountable, not holding yourself accountable. It's called blaming everybody else on the team and not putting it on yourself.
Yep.
Doc Rivers could be one of the weakest coach in the pressers I've ever seen. Joel Embiid throwing Ben under the bus like that. I know he did say that, the 8 turnovers this, 8 turnovers that. You can't be throwing your teammates under the bus 30 minutes after you just lost a game 7. The main thing you need to do is stick together as a team. Ben Simmons saying he is who he is. That's not what your teammates want to hear from you, Ben. You cost them the series. Not you alone. And that comes to me answering this poll. It's a tough one. Ben Simmons is most to blame for the Sixers' disappointing postseason run. It's hard to put the blame on one player. Let's just forget the name Ben Simmons for a second. It's hard to put the blame on one player, especially when the team is a 1 seed, especially when the team has all those expectations, when your team had the front runner for MVP, when your team had 2 monstrous leads in game 4 and game 5. That's not just one player. That's a team effort. And when it comes down to the team, it comes down to the head coach. That's why I got to disagree to the poll. And look, that doesn't take away anything that I said about Ben Simmons over the past 21 minutes. He sucked. He sucks. That's what he is right now. He sucks. Mm-hmm. It's easy for a kid that's 140 pounds to put on 60 pounds from doing push-ups. It's not easy for a kid to just lose depression or lose something that's going on in his head. It's not easy to do that. So he has a lot of work to do, Ben. Whatever it is.
Yeah. You said it perfectly. It's really, at the end of the day, you can blame the one person, but it's all the one team. It's just how that one player can affect the whole team. And just like if one player is having a bad game, like I don't know, Embiid was like jumping around. Like the only thing I didn't like about that game was Embiid was jumping around asking for fouls. He's worrying too much about fouls than he was worrying about his own game. But he did have a great game. But that series was so fucking winnable. That actually makes me so mad.
And it's just
and Danny Green, not having Danny Green was a big role of why Ben Simmons wasn't.
That pretty much cost us the series because yesterday, when you have Seth Curry and George Hill not being able to defend Kevin Huerter, whatever the fuck his name is.
Red Velvet.
Ginger Jesus, or whatever you want to call him, Red Velvet, this, that, I don't give a fuck. All I know is I'm not watching one game of that Bucks and Hawks series. And you have George Hill and Danilo Gallinari as well. If you have Danny Green, you're fine. Because Danny Green plays defense. Another thing I was wrong about. I'm just admitting to being wrong this whole fucking show. Because I wanted to get rid of Danny Green at the trade deadline. I was wrong. And losing him cost us the series. A lot of shit cost us the series. It's not just on Ben, and he's not the biggest factor. It's the head coach. Ben Simmons is a close second. Joel Embiid shrinking year after year after year in elimination games down the stretch. That cost us the game. Tobias Harris getting overpaid and just not showing up when you need him the most. That cost us the game. And this is all in order. Doc Rivers, Ben Simmons, Joe, Tobias. You got to throw the bench in there too because they were just putrid. And by the way, I never want to see Shake Milton or Furkan Korkmaz in a freaking Sixers jersey ever again. It is criminal that Furkan Korkmaz started this whole series once Danny Green went out. Criminal. Why is Furkan Korkmaz starting in a conference semifinal game? What the fuck are you fucking around with, Doc?
Me personally,
there's no reason why Tyrese Maxey shouldn't have been starting. There's no reason.
If you're not going to start Maxey, why not just start George Hill and put him on Bogdanovich? Or George Hill, at least he could shoot a little bit. Furkan can't shoot, and he's there to shoot.
He was 1 for 5. Yeah, exactly, John.
That's what I'm saying.
Hill was bad, too. Hill was bad. He had a few.
George Hill has some experience. You can at least put him in there. He's not going to lose you. Furkan, he thinks he's great. Furkan thinks he's JJ. That's his problem. He thinks he's JJ. When in reality, he is Furkan Korkmaz. Instead of putting somebody who like George Hill, who plays smart, George Hill's not going to make a boneheaded play. George Hill knows his role. That's why if you put him in at the 2, put him on Bogdanovich. First of all, Bogdanovich, Jimmy Evan Yacould guard Bogdanovich right now. He couldn't even move. He was standing still, just throwing it up, breaking all night. You put George Hill on him. You let Maxey run the offense off the bench with Thibault. They come off the bench, give you that bolt of energy.
Yeah. Dude, It's just the amount of. I don't even know how to like. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I didn't rewatch the game today. I couldn't. I rewatch every single Sixers game, every single important Sixers game. I rewatch. I didn't rewatch it today. So maybe if I rewatched it, I could have got a feel of if there was any type of pulse in that game. It just felt like the Hawks wanted it more than you did. That's what it felt like the whole series, to be completely honest. We could blame the refs all we want, but at least they were consistently shitting on us. When you're consistently shitting on, when the refs are consistently shitting on you, and you're that much better of a roster than the other team, you need to make those adjustments, and it starts with the head coach.
Let me say something. This is the point where I knew, or where I started saying, the Hawks are going to win this. You remember when? Not remember, but like because it happened last night. But when they had that breakaway slam and cut it to 1, and Thibault dunked it, and the Hawks inbound the ball and immediately get a dunk on the other end.
That's called lack of discipline.
That lack of discipline, and that just, first of all, Doc not having that instilled on them, you got to get back. Don't be celebrating. Not having that instilled on them, that's on Doc. But it's also on the players. You have to want to get back. It's a game 7. What are you celebrating a dunk on a fast break for? And what happens? They let that dunk happen. And after that, I believe it was 7. Yeah, it was 70 to 69. It went from 70 to 69, and the quarter ends, and it's 76-71. It's a 5-point game instead of a 1-point game.
Yep.
Just like that.
And what all 3 of us just said, Bill rounded up, summed it up perfectly. The blame is on everybody. Ben being scared as usual. Doc not making the adjustment. Doc made 1 adjustment this whole entire series, and that was putting Ben Simmons on Trey, which he should have done from the jump. All right, he made 2 adjustments. Putting Ben on Trey from the jump. That's what you should have done. That was an adjustment he made. So I don't really want to count that as an adjustment because that was just stupid coaching to begin with. So really the only adjustment you made was trapping Trae Young in game 1 because you didn't start Ben Simmons on him to begin with.
That was stupid.
You forgot an adjustment. Starting Furkan and Korkmaz.
That's not an adjustment. That's idiocy. You're being a fucking idiot. I could have fucking coached that group of guys better. His rotation sucked, and Embiid and his typical health catching up to him late in series with his tired, sloppy turnover. I'm not in the mood today, Evan, because Evan, you have that smirk on your face that says, "Oh, Jimmy, I'm so happy that you're admitting that I was finally." No, Evan, you can gloat all you want. You're just a creep. You're a creep.
I can't even see my face. The chat's in the way.
Yeah, because I'm trying to get through Bill's.
But what I was trying to say,
it was everybody's fault, including the fan base. That's on you, Evan. That's on me. That's on everybody that took sides on this whole situation. The Hawks stink, and that's what happens. They're going to get swept by the Bucks, and I'm not watching one fucking
they're
game.
Going to win the championship.
Bucks and 5. Bucks and 5. I've been saying it. I told everybody, Bucks and 5. When they get to the conference finals, Bucks and 5. It just so happened the Sixers aren't there.
What do you guys think of this statement? Because I feel like a lot of the fan base, they want to say that Joe doesn't really have a fault in it because of the meniscus, this and that. They'll say that, yeah, he did have the 8 turnovers, but it was because of the meniscus tear. I think that's bullshit because he's done this stretch after stretch, year after year. So what do you think about the fan base kind of just letting Joe off the hook?
Listen,
like they're saying that he did something wrong, but they're giving an excuse.
Listen,
why can't you just say the truth? The truth is the dude is injury prone. What Bill just said, he's injury prone, right? And when it comes down to big games down the stretch, he gets flustered. He turns the ball over. You can't win with a center being your best player, and that fault lies on Ben Simmons as well, not picking up some of the slack. Go ahead. What do you think? What do you think of the fan base just letting Joe off the hook?
I said it. If you're on the court, you got to perform. You're on the court, you got to perform. There's no excuses. And especially if you're somebody that was angry that you didn't win MVP, claiming that you're the most unstoppable player in the league, saying all that stuff. And not only that, the fan base. I saw a lot of Sixers fans coming at James Harden the night before when he struggled with his injury. They didn't give no excuses to James Harden. It's, he's James Harden. He's choking in the playoffs. But for Joel Embiid, he gets excuses. He's the biggest guy on the court. Get in the low post. Bully Capella because Capella's 70 pounds lighter than him. Capella is literally, come on now. He's too skinny for him. He can't guard him. And so when in game 5, when Embiid is 8 for 8 or whatever he was in the first quarter, 17 points,
Yeah.
Was his knee? Was he having problems with his knee then?
Nope.
He was perfectly fine then.
And
Oh,
look.
Struggles. It's because of his knee.
Wait, John. I just want to stop you there. I don't want to throw any false narrative that we're gonna say that it was a fake knee injury. He was trying to fake it. He was just trying to use an excuse. It's nothing like that. It's just funny how down the stretch, that's when the excuse starts to kick in. But earlier on in the game, the fans don't want. The fans are like, "Oh, he's doing that all on a fucking bum knee." It's like nothing's happening. And then the moment he starts to just not perform down the stretch, there's not a word. It's always, it's just because he has a meniscus tear. There's always next year. What's always next year? What's next year going to be? His foot? His other knee? Stop flopping around like a little fish out of water. You are 285 pounds. You can't be running around like you're Allen Iverson at 5'9", 155 pounds. Your body is not built for that. It can't sustain the falls that you put yourself through. That's why he's on my metaphorical trade block. And I know it's just out of this world. It's crazy to think about. It's everybody's on the trade block. He's on the bottom of it. Okay. Because I don't want to sound like a crazy person.
Thank you. I thought you had him near the top. If he's the last trade, then okay.
He's the last guy. But everybody on this roster that is set to return next year is on the trade block. And I want to make it a little excuse for Seth Curry and Tyrese Maxey because they're the only ones that showed you heart for 48 minutes or all the minutes that they were on the court throughout this series. Evan, what do you think about the fan base trying to let Joe off the hook?
Man, I don't really know how to feel about it. I mean, I was really positive about Embiid literally the whole series because he was really one of the only spotlighted players and one of the only players that I trusted to take those shots other than Curry, who had actually a great series, had a great postseason actually with one of the higher 3-point percentages in post-game or postseason history or whatever. He was good, but I feel like if you didn't have anything from Curry and you just had Joe hitting those shots, like he'd be scoring almost 50 a game. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like the knee injury was legit. I know we're not trying to put any narratives out.
It was legit. It was legit.
But that takes a lot. I mean, you could say he's injury prone, but you know damn sure he's going to make sure he's going to still play. So
is he?
He did. He did.
Did he do it when he had gastro because he was eating too much Chick-fil-A?
That was 2 years ago.
In the Raptor series?
That was 2 years ago.
I'm just saying. Is he going to be? Is he going to go back to that?
23 points a game. This dude averages a whole nother. He averages almost 30 a game.
Yeah, I want to hold you accountable for that because when I brought up Embiid and I brought up his past struggles, you told me he's the best player in the world right now because this is a different Embiid than that was in there. But this is a different Embiid now than the Embiid that was in that Raptor series. You told me that yourself.
Yeah, and then that was before Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7. Because when you're the best player in the world, you make sure that your team doesn't lose. When you're in conversations of being the best player in the world, you make sure your team doesn't lose, especially to the team like the Hawks. When you say that you lose, you basically don't have Bogdanovich, you don't have Hunter, and you don't have Reddish. You make sure your team doesn't lose to a team like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I am not letting Joe off the hook today. I'm not letting him off the hook probably ever for losing this series because we all built him up. It wasn't just me in this fan base, John. It was the majority of this fan base saying that he's the best player in the world. If he's the best player in the world, he wins you that game. If Kevin Durant is on this team and Joel Embiid isn't, Kevin Durant is not losing to the Hawks. Right or wrong?
Kevin Durant took James Harden with a messed up hamstring and took the Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis, Middleton, and Holiday all playing at a high level at the end of those games and carried those teams. Yes, he didn't get the win, but they'd get destroyed without him.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Facts.
My boy Vlad.
It's facts. It's facts right there. But he's not coming back to Philly. He's staying in Indiana with us.
And boys, I don't even know what to say anymore because that's just embarrassing for the whole city. We were so hype about this. I remember we were doing prayer sessions and shit, but like all that for nothing. All that for nothing, to be honest. Just pain. And honestly, after a couple games in, I could see it. Like I could see the end already. That game 7, before it even started, like the first minute, it was terrible. No one wanted to hit shot. No one to hit anything, and I saw the end before it even happened.
All right, here's I want to interrupt you on that one because after they went down to Atlanta and won that game 6, I legitimately had hope, and I was very confident that we were going to advance and play the Bucks. And then the first minute of the game happened, like you said, and right when it happened, I was like, "Holy shit, this is going to be a bad one."
Mhm.
And that's exactly what happened. The whole game. Doc, why is there 10 guys in the rotation in a game 7? I just got done watching the Bucks and Nets, which is probably one of the best basketball games I've ever seen in my entire life. The previous night, where James Harden's playing over 50 minutes with no hamstring. Kevin Durant just got off of 2 games in a row where he played every minute, and then he played game 7, playing every single minute, including in overtime. You got Middleton playing every minute on the other side. You got Giannis playing everything but 2 minutes. You got 4 stars from that series playing over 50 minutes in a game 7. Absolute war of 2 top 5 teams in the NBA. And then you let yourself, the Sixers, who you're supposed to be the best team in the league, top 2 team in the league, what all of us made them out to be, you go against the Hawks team that shouldn't be here, that you're clearly better. And I will hold that forever. We are a better team than the Atlanta Hawks. We are. There's no excuse why you should have lost. But you want to know what the excuse was? Or do you want to know why? Because A, your coach, B, your soft-ass point guard. There's no reason why our starters shouldn't have played at least 46 minutes.
Jimmy, I got the minutes breakdown right here for that game. Giannis played 50. Brook Lopez played 46 minutes. Drew Holiday played 48. Middleton played 52. Durant played 53. Joe Harris played 47. James Harden played 53. And Bruce Brown played 42. And Blake Griffin played 40. That's what you do in a game 7. You go out saying, I'm putting my best players on the court, and we're gonna go down with our best. We're going down with our soldiers, our best soldiers. And if we lose, hey, I'm not gonna say I could have played this guy more. I shouldn't have played this guy more. Why did I play him? No, these are our best guys. They're gonna play. If they don't bring it home, hey, whatever. I'm gonna live with it. But Doc is so stubborn. He believes my rotation is my rotation. I have to play my rotations. It worked all year. No, Doc, that's not it. Look, I hate to bring him up, but look at the Clippers. Look at Tyronn Lue against the Mavs. Who does he sit? Pat Bev. Pat Bev was getting DNP'd against the Jazz. Rondo was getting DNP'd, and Pat Bev was back in the rotation. Each series, each game.
It's game after game in the NBA playoffs.
Game. Who thought that Terrence Mann would have a 39-point game? Who thought Terrence Mann was even going to start?
By the way, he's better than Paul George.
Paul George is better than Ben Simmons, so that's all that matters.
I know.
Thank you.
Remember I gave John, I gave you and Will the list the other week ago, or whatever week it was, top 20 players in the NBA. And I was a clown and said that Ben Simmons was number 17 or whatever.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
He about 40. Maybe. On a good day. He's about 40.
Yeah. All right, before we get into this next point, because I want to talk about this, Philly Sports Passion, always a regular on the show, always chiming in with great comments. We appreciate all the newcomers on tonight. If you're new, wherever you're watching, please hit the like, please hit that, give us a comment, subscribe to the channel, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, wherever you're watching. Give us a like. We appreciate you. We will get to everybody's comment, and we'll start with Philly Sports Passion. If we traded Simmons and this time next year we get eliminated again in the second round, who will be to blame then? There's no Simmons to blame. It's the same question with Carson. I know that there's no comparing the two because Carson wasn't broke. He didn't have a mental problem, Carson was just put in an unfortunate position, and it just got the best of him. Carson always gave you 120%. And if you disagree with that, you're just a hater. It's just that simple. Ben Simmons, he gave you 100% on defense. And then offense comes and he shrinks. So at the end of the day, he gave you 50%. So get back to the question. Who are we going to blame if we lose in the second round next year and we have a totally different roster? Let's say we have De'Aaron Fox, Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris. Who's the blame going to go?
I mean, you got to judge it off how the performances are in that series. It's hard to really say who we're going to blame next year if we don't know.
Yeah.
Do we still have Doc?
But this is the point of the question. Look,
you got to blame Doc.
This is the point that Philly. This is the point that I think Philly sports passion is trying to make. Us, the fans, and we are the most passionate fan base in the country. And sometimes that comes to bite us in the ass. But when we win, like we won in 2008, like we won in 2018, 2017, everything pays off. But up until we do win, we are a really toxic fan base. We jump from thing to thing to thing as to why we lost. And we get into passionate debates about it. And that's what kills some of these franchises. Some players are just not built for this city. And it looks like Ben Simmons isn't built for it. Joe, I think Joe is starting to prove that he is, especially since what happened last year with the Batman quote he quoted, where he was talking about that there was rumors that he was going to go down to Miami with Jimmy. He isn't soft. He knows how to mess around with us, per se. Ben doesn't. Joe's one of those people.
Can I say something? I feel as though another thing is, and it's clear if like it's a mental problem with Ben, and I feel as though he gets so much like into his own head, and I also feel as though like there's fans that embrace Ben, but the overall fan base doesn't really embrace Ben as much as they embrace Embiid, and Embiid doesn't embrace the fan base. I mean, Ben doesn't embrace the fan base as much as Embiid does. For example, the video of Embiid running through Philly and the fans like recording and stuff like that. And not only that, the process, Embiid is the process. But Ben still was the number one overall pick. Ben still called himself the Fresh Prince. Ben still felt as though he was a star player. But it's almost like, you know how when they say that Durant didn't want to stay in Golden State because Steph was always going to be the guy in Golden State. It almost feels as though Ben can never, ever be the guy here as long as Joel's here. And that's why I feel as though a change of scenery for Ben can help him out mentally. Also, shout out to little man Xavier right there. Little man. Little man.
Yo, X.
And shout out to my girlfriend Destiny in the chat. Thanks for all the love, everybody in here.
The comments above is why people hate Philly fans. Stop backing up in the all-star who cares, who scores less than 5 points in a close out game. All right, X. You're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan, and Russell Westbrook is your favorite player. I just want to expose you right then and there before you start coming at my Philly fans. Slow down, little man, in the words of John Almonte.
He's like me, though. We rock with the Eagles.
Yeah. Actually, appreciate the love. Teddy chimes in. Yep, they should have played the whole game, and you can't trade Simmons. You won't get anything fair in return. Look, this is exactly what we said to Carson Wentz, about Carson Wentz. And people will argue, yeah, we got the same back in return. There's not he was done here, and yeah, he was done here. Did we get the fair amount of compensation back from him? I still don't think so. I still think he's going to be an MVP front runner over the next 10 years. If you want to be completely frank, that Colts team is legit. Carson Wentz is going to give you 110% every single game. Evan, I know you're smirking down there, but it's true. Now, if Ben Simmons turns it around and you trade him for pennies on the dollar, we're going to look real stupid if we keep on getting eliminated in the second round. That's another reason why I would pump the brakes on the Ben Simmons trade talks.
Can I say something? I feel as though it's very different in terms of the trading Ben and trading Carson Wentz. The reason why is because Ben, a sport like basketball, they're always looking for potential. Teams are looking for potential. And they look at Ben Simmons, like you say, Jimmy, he's still young. Not only that, he still affects the game on defense, which is something Carson Wentz can't affect the game on defense. He's just a quarterback. He can't affect the game passing. I mean, passing, yeah, but like being on offense and being a great thrower of the football and being a good quarterback, that's Carson Wentz. Ben Simmons can play multiple positions because he can handle the rock as a point guard. You could also run him in like a small ball lineup as a center because he's 6'10". Ben Simmons could do a lot for a team. It's just a team like Philly who needs that number 2 scorer because Tobias Harris really is a number 3 on a championship team. They need a number 2 scorer. Ben Simmons is being paid as a number 2 scorer, but that's not what he can do right now. Mentally, he's not there to be a scorer. So I feel as though a team that doesn't need a scorer would give a lot for a player like Ben Simmons because he's still young. Whereas Carson Wentz, the way he got benched and the way it just all fell apart and all the injuries that he had, his trade value was down the drain. And that's a part of the organization. Ben Simmons didn't. Ben Simmons is not coming off a catastrophic injury. Ben Simmons isn't coming off of being benched multiple games for a rookie because this rookie is supposed to be better than him. They didn't draft up his replacement or anything like that. Ben Simmons still started. Ben Simmons still played almost all of the point guard minutes. It has nothing to do with that. That's why I feel as though you still can get a lot for Ben Simmons. Maybe not as much as you could have at the trade deadline or before the trade deadline, like James Harden. But
yeah, now I'm looking real silly after that because I was fighting tooth and nail for keeping my boy who just basically cut my heart out. And yeah, I wish Ben played like Russ because if Ben played like Russ,
oh my gosh, if he played like Russ,
he's literally Russell. He would be Russell Westbrook, only 7 inches taller and 50 pounds heavier.
He'd be Giannis with a better handle.
Yeah, man. I don't even know. I don't even know what to say anymore. It's just,
yo, why is Vlad just hating right now?
He's speaking facts,
bro. I'm ignoring like all of the people that I like don't know personally that are just trolling. But like Vlad, like why? Why are you being like? Why are you doing this right now?
I don't see nothing wrong with what Vlad is saying.
Marky, you and I weren't the only ones, brother. We there was few of us left come Game 7, and after that Game 7, there's just no defending him anymore. There isn't.
I just feel bad. I feel bad for you, Jimmy.
All right, Evan.
No, honestly, because
I
just feel bad because you're all so high on him, and he just disappointed you.
No, I called Jimmy last night, and at first I was gonna dance in the camera because that's what I did to a lot of Sixers fans. I FaceTimed a lot of Sixers fans. I was dancing, I was having a good time. But then when I called Jimmy, I said, no, I need to be serious with Jimmy because this is something he was so passionate about. It just sucks to see how it crumbles. Sucks. You hate to see it.
Wow. Are we going this far? Are we really going this far with the Ben Simmons stuff?
No, take Seth out of that trade, and you got to deal. I mean, Draymond is Ben with kind of a 3-pointer.
All right, so you're looking at a roster with this is probably what your starters would be. It would be Maxey, Seth, Wiggins, Draymond, and Joe.
With Danny Green off the bench.
Danny Green's a free agent. Are we signing him? Or no?
I would resign him for the minimum.
He's gonna want money.
I think no, that is not a dream trade in my situation, and that is not a desperation trade in my situation.
No, that's a terrible trade.
Oh, I forgot Tobias. Tobias is still on the team too. So you got Tobias, Draymond, Joe, and Andrew Wiggins, and Matisse Thybulle.
I feel like the only trade that can go through
a lot of bricks.
Bro.
Legit. The only trade I think that can go through is the McCollum trade.
Who
That's a whole lot of bricks right there. If you put Wiggins and Tobias on safety.
Bro, I don't know if X said this in the chat to like actually get like our like valid opinions or just to see all the trolls come in. Because there is a lot of like troll comments for this.
Somebody said Vlad said trade Ben for a paper straw. Oh my goodness.
Not even a plastic one? Come on, man.
Oh my god, guys.
Okay.
Bro.
He do be looking like one of them though.
Oh man. All right. So we're gonna do our dream trade. Our dream trade. Jimmy,
John,
you start. Jimmy, you start. Because I want to hear you. You go ahead.
But it has to be something that can work, possibly.
Logically work, money wise, all of that.
I'd probably give Ben, and this really depends on the Warriors if they're willing to do it, because I don't know if they're willing to do it. They've had 2 injury-ridden years. I don't know if Steph wants out. I don't know if it was all true that he does want to come to his brother. I don't know if it was just hype surrounding the Sixers. But if it's honestly true, I would do Ben, Maxey, Tobias, and a lot of future first-round picks for Draymond and Steph.
And Joel Embiid, and Tobias, and Doc Rivers. You're going to keep going, right? You're going to need a lot more than that to get Steph.
Liberty Bell.
You're going to need a lot more than that to get Steph freaking Curry, especially with Klay Thompson coming back. So who else? Add more people to that trade because Allen Iverson.
But that's the thing. Are you willing to do Joe for Steph and just make that a package? Probably involve a third team. Joe for Steph, and then you have Ben playing that power forward center role, and then you basically just play small ball for the rest of.
Steph's not going nowhere. That's just all rumors. Steph isn't.
All right. Logical. That you said dream trade. He said dream trade. That's my dream trade.
All right,
in a package involving
some feasible.
The most feasible and logical dream trade. How about that?
It'd probably be Bradley Beal because Bradley Beal wants out of Washington. So you do Beal. They'll probably have to do something with Westbrook if Simmons is going to be involved in it. Or if they're really desperate, you give them Tobias, and then you have Ben who tries to figure it out. You have Beal as your closer, and then Joe finally has a legitimate guard that he could go off of. So Beal is probably the most logical and probably the dream trade that I would like to go for. I don't know what the exact package would be, but Beal for Tobias, I feel like that could work if it gets really bad in Washington.
How does this sound? Okay. You trade Ben and a couple picks for either Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal.
Zach LaVine.
Wait. And then you sign Spencer Dinwiddie to be your actual point guard. Is free?
And what's Maxey doing?
Maxey could be a 6-man energy bunny off the bench.
So you got Dinwiddie, LaVine, Seth, Tobias, and Joe. Where's your defense?
Or I mean, I'm guessing that you're going to resign. I think Danny Green is going to come back. Me personally.
Oh,
what happened?
Nah, fuck out of here. I hate you people. I hate you.
Not Kuzma. Anybody but Kuzma. Everybody knows this. Kuzma is the worst basketball player ever. I've said this forever. Kuzma sucks. He's not a winning player. He's not a consistent scorer. He can't defend. He can't pass. Anybody in the world can do what Kuzma does. Play for a bad team and throw up. Kuzma is Tony Roten, but 6'8".
This is what the haters are doing, bro. They're driving me. They're driving me. I can't. Why? This is what I was worried about coming on to this show. I want logical things to be requested. There is no chance in hell that Daryl Morey is trading Ben Simmons for Dennis Schroeder and Kyle Kuzma.
Kuzma?
Bro. I know this kid has been trolling the whole night, but this is a legit. No, he's been trolling before Vlad.
No, but Vlad Justin Anderson. Don't bring up Justin Anderson in this chat. Justin Anderson is off limits, guys.
Oh no.
Y'all don't want to know my Justin Anderson story. I'm not gonna bring it up. I've explained that story a billion times. Just understand, Justin Anderson is off limits. He's a bum. He would never be anything more than that. So don't bring him up.
Guys, there's no chance in hell that a trade like that is gonna happen. Kuzma and Schroeder for fucking Ben Simmons.
All right, I got mine.
All
right, so Ja really just kind of took it. I was thinking Ben Tobias.
Oh.
That's gonna be a fucking haul right there.
Ben and Tobias
For
right.
Buddy Hield. What the fuck is this other guy's name? I just had it in my head. What's their power forward's name?
Marvin Bagley.
No, the
The
one
one
that
that
played on the Warriors.
Harrison Barnes.
Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Fox, Hield, and Barnes for Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and a first-round pick.
So we're giving them 2/3 of our core and a first-round pick for basically guys that have a lot of potential out west. But out west, are they ever going to get over that hump with just those guys, or do they have the faith in Ben Simmons to just grow?
I don't really know.
I wouldn't have faith in Ben Simmons out west. There's a lot more shit for him to do in Sacramento than in Philadelphia.
Oh,
There's a lot more Kardashians that he could go bang with.
I think the Kings would. Xavier said the Kings would say no. I think the Kings would actually say yes to that trade, in my opinion. Just for the fact that they're not giving up Bagley. So you still have two young pieces you could build around in Ben and Bagley. You're keeping Tobias Harris, who's a 20-point per game scorer.
They might ask for Maxey.
And no, not only that, you still have Tyrese Halliburton who can run the point too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They already have 3 guards on that team. You could get 2 of them out of there. You'll have Ben as your power forward. You could run Bagley at the center, Tobias at the 3. You have Tyrese at your guard, and you sign a 2 guard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would say no. And they're getting a first round.
And then we get Hield and De'Aaron Fox to go with.
And you get Harris.
Hield, Fox, and Barnes.
We lose Maxey in that trade?
No.
So then we have Hield at the 3. We have Maxey at 2, Fox at 1. That would be scary. And then you have Joby in the center, and then you would need a legit bruiser as your 4.
Yeah.
Barnes can bang.
Barnes can play.
Barnes can bang, bro. Barnes plays the 4.
Oh, yeah, you get Barnes too.
You get Barnes.
Yeah.
I mean, that could happen. That could definitely happen. I know a lot of people are asking for McCollum in the chat. I don't know about McCollum.
The reason they would give up Fox is because they already have Tyrese Halliburton, and not only that, they're getting Ben back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's the question. People are saying no defense, though, but we've been trying to say that we're playing bully ball. We're playing bully ball. It hasn't really helped us. It doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't.
We got into too much foul trouble this year, and especially if Harden and Trae Young are staying in the East, it's not going to work come playoff time.
And not only that, think about this. Who are you going to double off of when you dump it down to Embiid? You can't come off of Hill. You won't be able to come off of Maxey because Maxey can either cut or he'll shoot it if he's open.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help off of Fox. You can't help off of Harrison Barnes either. And you still have Seth as your 6th man. Or you can start Seth and have Maxey as your 6th man, and you really can't help off of Seth.
Yeah, that would be tough. That would be good. And I know
if you can sign also Green, and that if you have enough money,
you can sign Danny Green. That's a squad, in my opinion.
Exactly.
I'll tell you that the trade will be Ben for McCollum. That gives Embiid the inside-outside game the organization has never given him. Makes him also better. But I also feel like Tobias is shrinking. There's no question. And I think De'Aaron Fox has a lot more potential than CJ McCollum. And to be completely honest, I'd rather have Buddy Hield and Harrison Barnes over Tobias Harris. And you get to keep Maxey. It's a trade that could work. We could ask Brado to put it up in the machine, see if it works.
It wouldn't work though, money-wise. Because the same contract Ben Simmons has. Actually, Fox is getting paid more than Ben Simmons. And then you got Harrison Barnes has a big contract. Buddy has a pretty sizable contract.
It'll work.
Actually, no, Buddy didn't sign for a lot, so it would work.
It would work.
It wasn't like 3 years.
Buddy didn't sign for a lot. Buddy didn't sign for a lot. It would work. And then you're adding the first round. They would take that first rounder too. It would work.
I'm sick of this excuse. Because first it was he can't be the best player on the team. He's only really good on a team that, in a regular season where there's an 8th seed or they barely make the playoffs. And then come 2 years ago, it was, he would be a great second option. He's a great second scoring option. Well, guess what? He failed. I don't want to hear the third scoring option anymore. I'm done with Tobias Harris. Done. Bye-bye.
Tobias is a number 3, though. He is. If you can keep Tobias and get a really good, really, really good number 2, or a guy who could be a number 1, I would do it.
So damn, that was a pretty good trade, huh?
Yeah, good
Well,
job.
Evan, you win. You win, Evan.
Dude,
But-
I was just thinking
wait.
about that 'cause I had Harrison Barnes in fantasy, and he was pretty good. So I knew he played for. I watched him when he played for the Warriors, but I didn't really watch because I had Fox and Barnes.
Yeah.
And dude, Fox, he's legit, and he can potentially close out a game.
Nah, Fox is a killer.
He
Fox,
is.
that's somebody you would never question their
By the way, I'd rather have De'Aaron Fox than Trae Young, and I don't think it's close. To be completely honest, I don't think it's close.
Don't
Like
say
him on a team, like
say
he's
it.
never played with a player of the caliber of Joel Embiid.
This might just be my emotion right now.
That's your emotions. Don't
I
say it.
never want to see the Hawks ever play a basketball game in my entire life. It's literally just disgusting basketball that makes me reconsider being a fan of the NBA, watching the Hawks play basketball.
Don't
And
say it.
and Rob just says the trade would work. So I'll take you for your word, Rob.
No, it would work.
Yeah.
It would work.
X brings up another good point. Looking back, would you go through with the Harden or Lowry trade? Yes, that means giving up Maxey. All right, so let's just take the Harden situation out of it. Let's go to the Lowry because looking back at it, if you don't say yes to that Harden trade, you're a moron. And that's coming from the biggest Ben lover you'll ever know, you'll ever meet. And these two can be my voices for that. Am I not the biggest Ben supporter in this whole entire world? So Harden, yeah, there's no doubt about it, even if it means Maxey. The question is Lowry. Because if you have Lowry in this Hawks series, you're potentially winning this series. You match up well against the Bucks, and then you see what happens against a Kawhi-less Los Angeles Clippers or a Phoenix Suns who are puppies. Devin Booker's a puppy. He's not there yet. He might win it this year just because of the injuries, but you got 4 legit guys right now that are going to win their first finals. This was our year. And if we upgrade it better at the trade deadline, what happens? So I'm saying yes to the Lowry trade. I'm saying yes to the Lowry trade. I think it would have made a huge difference in this series. And potentially, you never know what could have happened.
Wait, Lowry for who? Who are you saying?
It would have been Lowry for Maxey, I guess. Whoever that trade would have been.
I said yes at the time. I keep the same answer. He would have been the guy that could set. First of all, he would be able to set everybody up and not have to, like Ben, think about, oh, when I get this ball, I'm gonna get fouled. Let me get it out of my hands as quick as I can. Because Lowry's money from the free throw line, and not only that, Lowry can space the floor. You don't have to worry about, for example, when Danny Green goes down, you can just run Ben, Lowry, Seth, Tobias, and Embiid.
Yeah. Yep. Would you have done it, Evan?
Man, I really don't know. I know that sounds crazy, but like I really don't know because maybe he would have been that guy who's the leader, who spoke up and held people accountable because he just seems like that kind of a guy, you know? He's from Philly, and like I just feel like, you know what I mean? Like he's got – I don't think we have one guy on the team from Philly. Like he knows what Philly is. And I feel like if we were to have him on the team, it would be nice, but I don't know if I'm sacrificing Maxey with that. Back then, I was like, you better trade Maxey's ass. Why he's up high? But I do think Maxey he's going to be a pretty decent player.
I mean, this organization just took a turn for the worse. So I feel like if Kyle Lowry would have given you a better shot at advancing to the conference finals, I'm taking that gamble that Kyle Lowry's winning 2 rings in a row.
Well,
we're talking to
we're thinking about that. We're thinking at that time, are we in win now mode? Which we are.
Yes.
We are in win now mode. Joel Embiid's getting wear and tear on him each year they play.
Yep.
And you know, like there's all these talks about, like, you have Daryl Morey as the damn GM. you're in win now mode. You're always going to be in win now mode. That's
Yeah.
why he left. That's why he fucking got out of Houston as fast as he could, because they're a loser franchise. I mean, so are the Sixers right now. Sixers haven't done shit since 2001. You
Yeah.
know, like he wanted to be a part of it. It's going to end up like the Nets. He didn't want the Sixers to end up like the Nets. That's basically
Yeah.
what it was. He didn't want to sacrifice our future on someone who can underperform, because that's what usually happens when free agents come to Philly or we trade for somebody. It's not really what you expect.
Yeah. Guys, we got around 70 people watching on YouTube, and we only got 21 likes. So let's at least get to 50 by the end of the show. We got about like 30 minutes left. Let's get to 50 likes on YouTube by the end of the show. We got around 70 people watching. That's not much to ask. Let's do a little housekeeping here. Every like, that helps us grow. That helps us grow bigger and better. And HUD is the best in the business. So let's keep this up. We appreciate all the support.
Like it up. Come on.
This man Jamie just poured his heart out. You guys give him a like.
Come on. Look at him.
He's in his feeling. He's gonna listen to some Juice WRLD after this.
Yeah.
I started drinking in the fourth quarter yesterday. I was literally drinking bourbon straight up yesterday at the start of the fourth quarter, because I could already sense that I was going to be disappointment. So I just needed to feel like something.
I wish I had a camera. I wish I had a camera set up in my house of like my father. Because my dad was laying on a couch. Like I'm on one couch, and my dad is.
and your dad's a Sixer fan, right?
He's a Sixers fan, but he's like a hardcore fan where it's like he's like a realist where it's like whatever it is whatever it is. He's coming at Embiid. He's coming at Ben. He's like, Tobias, make a layup. Like he comes at everybody. This is him sitting there.
Yeah.
Bro, and another thing I want to add that I didn't really get to talk about is that Ben Simmons' attitude when he's not in the game is just, it's bad. Because I saw him on the bench, even when he was in the game. Doc Rivers called a timeout. I think it was in the fourth quarter, and his body language looked like shit. That's when I knew we were done. Because when you're star point guard,
Why?
can't even have a fucking smile on his face or anything. Like it was a tie game. Like he just looked. I don't even know how to explain it, Jimmy. He just didn't look like he wanted to be there.
Can I take this comment right here? Because this is my cousin.
Yeah.
This is my cousin Lou. My cousin Lou is the Puerto Rican equivalent of Jimmy when it comes to Ben Simmons. He loves Ben Simmons. That's his boy. As you can see, he doesn't want him traded right now.
And I agree. I agree with this comment too.
Well, he sent the earlier in our group chat. He sent the screenshot of where it said Ben isn't going to the Australian team. He's going to work with Doc Rivers or whatever. And I responded to him, and I want to read what I said to him. I said, "Bro, it's not about his skills. There's nothing skill wise Ben can't do. It's his mentality. Ben can shoot the ball. He's not as bad. You're telling me
we have seen it. We have seen him shoot
worse than Giannis as a shooter? Can you tell me that he's way worse of a shooter than Giannis? You can't tell me that because we don't know. Because Ben doesn't try and shoot it. Ben can finish. Ben can play make. But what can he do? He can't mentally put himself in the game and say, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to impose my will in this game on the offensive side of the ball. And when you can't mentally do that in a city like Philly, like you're just it's not gonna work because Philly wants you to work hard. They want somebody who's going to be there every night, and they're going to see the improvement. When you're not there mentally, and it almost seems like you're not trying almost on the offensive end, that's when it's like they're gonna give up on you.
Yeah. I mean, it was the same thing that happened with Markelle Fultz.
Exactly.
Like there's just people that aren't built for Philly, and there's people who are built for Philly. You know, Joel Embiid for sure is built for Philly, whereas Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz, those guys, like Ben Simmons is too pretty to play in Philly. He's too pretty.
Yeah.
He cares so much about living in LA, go practicing with LA. Fuck off, Ben. Fuck off. It's annoying. It's annoying as fuck. Fuck off. It is so annoying. That little style he has, it bugs me because he thinks he's a shit, and it bugs me.
I always said it, man. Like I missed the rookie Ben, where it was like him putting his stamp. Like, for example, that game against LeBron where he posted like Fresh Prince. Where is that man at? Are you telling me he can't do that anymore?
Yeah.
No.
You telling me the Hawks could stop him from doing that, but LeBron James couldn't?
I had a comment.
Did you ever see that Ben Simmons post where he said, "They love me not"? That post.
Yeah,
I love
like
that
that.
post, bro.
That's the exact example of what I'm fucking talking about.
At the time, I loved that post. Now it's
Now he just looks like
I genuinely think he has like a problem. He
does not want to play in Philly.
and this
He does
isn't.
not want to play.
I don't
Never
think
Philly.
it's about that. I don't even think it's about that. I think it's he legitimately is afraid to mess up. I feel like he always he doesn't handle losing the right way. He is afraid to lose, so therefore he tries to not do anything at all so that you could almost not blame him. But it's coming back and shooting him right in the ass because he's not doing anything on the offensive side of the ball. And Philly Sports Passion, I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion to say, but I think this could be a wake-up call for Simmons. All of this Ben Simmons love, it is in the back of my mind. It's just I can't come on here today saying that, yeah, this is going to be Ben's wake-up call. Yeah, the right thing to do is to just let it ride, try and see if he could get out of his own head and figure it out, help him out through it. I can't be saying it on the airwaves today. Maybe in a month from now, 5 shows from now, 7 shows from now, maybe when free agency occurs, I could start trying to defend him again. But I can't defend him for at least 3 shows. like I can't do it.
You know when the wake up call should have been? When you're a rookie of the year and you go in a playoff series and score 1 point in a game.
No. You want to know what's a wake up call? Look, that definitely could have been your wake up call, but the icing on the cake should have been when this organization chose you and Brett over Jimmy Butler.
Yep.
Because when they chose you and Brett, they told you that they saw more potential in you than you already had. And that is 2.5, 3 years ago now.
Yep.
That should have been your wake-up call, Ben. They chose you over Jimmy Butler.
And if
Jimmy Butler was the best player to ever play with Joel Embiid, who is the cornerstone of this franchise, and they chose you over that guy.
And if
he
you don't
has
wake
some explaining to do.
you gotta wake up. If you don't wake up then, he should have woken up after they started hacking and Doc Rivers defended him. After Doc Rivers said, "Oh, I'd be stupid to take him out of the game. Why would I take him out of the game?" Well, look at you now, Doc. Look at you now. I'm so tired of Doc Rivers. Yeah, I had to deal with him for a whole year with Paul George. Oh my Lord, I hate Doc Rivers. Sorry, y'all.
I just feel like I really don't know what it's all about because you had Brett Brown last year you had him last year saying, "Oh, it's not his fault. It's okay. He doesn't have to shoot. Oh, his free throws aren't an issue." But like, you have Doc being that same old fucking puppet that Brett Brown was.
Yeah.
What is that shit? I really don't know. I don't know what it is. Yeah. It's stupid.
And guys, you see this green check mark on Marky 215's name? He says he can't defend Ben until he shows something different next season. That little green highlight is Marky Mark being a member of A2D, and it's this simple: $9.99 a month. Perks include appearances on the show whenever you want, members only streams, shout outs, and weekly sports picks from Nate himself, Muddy Pot Podcast. We give you free bets. That makes it all worth it itself. So if you're feeling anything generous like that, the link in that is in our YouTube. It's on our Facebook. It's everywhere you watch us. So just keep that in mind as well, guys. We appreciate the support.
You want to come roast Jimmy? It's $9.99 a month. Come roast Jimmy. Tell him how you feel,
guys. If you get that membership, come on right now. I will let you guys talk to me personally and tell me how much of an idiot I was for trying to say that Ben Simmons will have a jump shot come an important playoff game, because I was wrong. I was a fucking idiot.
Jimmy's my boy, but he deserves it. He deserves it. Man.
It's been like this for a year and a half.
All right.
All those DMs, but I saw the DMs where Jimmy was calling me names when I said that about Ben.
You're a hater. I still think you're a hater. You were right, but you were a hater at the time.
Nah.
You're a hater with Carson, though. You know that.
Oh, Jimmy. When I talk about Ben, I'm gonna speak rationally. When he does good, I'm gonna say he's doing good. When he's not doing something right, I'm gonna say what he's not doing right. And shout out to my mom in the chat.
The one thing that I would like to say is I don't think John's a hater. Like I called him a hater a lot with him criticizing Ben. But the one thing that John didn't do is he didn't laugh at my face after game 7 yesterday. He didn't send me just texts going all over the place. I told you so. He's a fucking bum. You know who did do that? Evan Taylor did that. That's how I know you were a legit hater, and you were just trying to say the whole time you didn't care what happened yesterday. You just wanted to make sure that you were right. And guess what, Ev? Guess what, Ev? You got your way. You were right. I was wrong.
No, Jimmy. Like legit, if they would have won this game, would you be acting like this? Like, would you still be acting like Ben? I was wrong about Ben, or would you still be on? Would you still be on the high horse saying that Ben's still
all right? Well,
this guy until they lose.
Let me just say this. That one play where he passed up that dunk with 2 minutes to go, and it was 1 point instead of 2 points.
Mm-hmm.
If he just dunks that ball and we win that game, I'm not saying any of this right now. Because he wasn't aggressive yesterday at all on the offensive side of the ball. Like he wasn't the whole series. But he gave you great defense yesterday. And if he just dunks that ball and we win this game, it's a different story. And maybe this show happens a month from now if they get eliminated in the Eastern Conference Finals or the finals or whatever it is. Maybe this happens a week from now. Maybe it happens 2 weeks from now. So unless we would have won this year with this roster, I think either way I look at it, the way we got eliminated, Ben, yeah, I probably would have had this conversation with you.
He played a big part in it. And the thing about that move, that play, he was aggressive. And then as soon as he gets there,
that's how I know there's something wrong with him.
Yeah, it's like he saw Trey and he saw these guys around him. He's just thinking, I'm about to get fouled. Instead of, let me dunk this.
That's exactly what happened, John. It's exactly what happened.
It's like I like the video of Shaq. Shaq said, like, you can't let it affect you. Like, at the end of the day, I'm not going to stop being aggressive because you're trying to stop me. I'm supposed to fight through that. And then he caught himself. He said at the end of the game, tuck the elbow, O'Nealovich, and I got to hit the shot. It's all mental with Ben. And that's why I said it's like there's nothing Philly can do to fix that. A city like Philly, there's nothing Philly could do to help somebody mentally.
All right, before we get to my Doc Rivers point, because I got a big question about Doc Rivers for us, I just want to get this out of the way, Ron. Trae Young is good. I hate watching Trae Young play basketball. He is a poor man's James Harden. He plays zero defense, and he legit. Like, I know we joke around all the time that Harden, like, you know, is always looking. He depends on the refs, and that's why he is the way he is. That's why he's a top 5 basketball player in the world. Blah, 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 blah. Trae Young is not good at basketball. Trae Young is not good at basketball. Yesterday in Game 7 proves it. He let a dude named Kevin Huerter win it for you, as opposed to you. Every single game this series, you depend on the refs to put up your numbers. Between the span of Game 2 and Game 5, and I know Game 5 was abysmal. It was an abysmal, painful ending. But from Game 2 to Game 5, you got shut down, dude. You got shut down by a legitimate defender in Ben Simmons. Since we made that adjustment, you got fucked up. We lost the series. We lost the series from you guys. Your whole team wanted it more. All right, that's fine. But the people that are all over Trae Young's cock, I'm done with it. I'm done. He is not a good basketball player. He is never going to get this far ever again unless he has somebody by his side. And he's getting swept by the Bucks. Mark it.
Can I respond to this? I just want to tell the viewers that Jimmy hates Trae Young as a basketball player. So this is all coming. That's an emotional answer for Jimmy. This is a post-series emotional answer for Jimmy. Just like they hated almost every Raptor player besides Kawhi after that series.
Bro, I didn't even hate any of the Raptors, bro. That was just painful because there was literally nothing we could have done. We couldn't do anything about it.
It was more just the fans. Like, legit, I don't really hate any of the players, really. I just hate the fans. Like I honestly can't go on a limb and say I hate any of the Celtics players. I just hate the fucking fans. It's more just the fans, and you like to rub it in and say, "Oh, this player is trash. I hate this player." Like at the end of the day, when you really look at it, do you hate any of these players?
I
You just
hate Trae Young.
No, he hates
No,
Trae
no,
Young.
no.
He
No, I
hates.
hate Trae
But,
Young.
but
He
Jimmy's a
hates.
hater. Jimmy's
Yeah.
a hater. It's all right.
I'll admit it. That could have come from straight emotion, but I look at him and I look at all of the other the greatness, the eliteness of talent in the NBA, and I just don't see it in him.
No, Jimmy.
He
He's
is a
better
guy.
than Ben. He's better than Ben.
He takes jump shots and falls like you're jumping. Look, you're jumping straight up, right? And then he backs up like straight, and he gets a foul called for him. Like you're jumping backwards, dude. It's not even a fadeaway.
Jimmy,
You literally take the jump shot, and then your whole body just moves parallel to the ground, and you get called for somebody that's just behind you, standing like this.
Jimmy,
That's how 95% of his fouls were. And what was he averaging free throws made in the game? How many throughout the series? Like I legitimately want to know, because what he was averaging 31. How many of those were free throws? 10. Like come on.
Jimmy, you kind of play like Trae Young. Oh my God. Jimmy.
Bro, I'd rather you call me Furkan. I'd rather you call me Furkan Korkmaz than Trae Young.
My cousin Lou is hating in the chat right now. I guess he wants to, he said Embiid or PG. Sorry, John. All I know is playoff P has 3 conference finals appearances in his career. Embiid has 0.
Marky, he does need that, and we'll go to this. Ooh.
That's all I know. Embiid's a better player, but who has more at this point? Who has more playoff success? And don't bring up age, because Paul George, by the age of 24, had 2 conference finals appearances.
Look, this isn't going to turn into a Paul George love affair. I'm taking Joel Embiid over Paul George any day of the week. And I know you would love.
Jimmy, what were you gonna say about Doc?
Yeah, what's the Doc question?
Brett Brown would have coached this team better than Doc Rivers with Seth Curry and Danny Green. I think we would have made it further.
I think
we would have beaten the Hawks. We would have beaten the Hawks if Brett Brown was the coach of this team. You bring in better assistants, because Brett's assistants were putrid. Mm-hmm. I think Brett Brown has more success against the Hawks than Doc did, because if you look at what Doc did in the Raptor series, he made a few adjustments. He made huge adjustments. And that game 7, nobody got taken out of the game. They had a 7-man rotation. It was James Ennis and Mike Scott, I think. And then I think maybe Amir Johnson came in, or Greg Monroe came in for a little bit for Embiid. Maybe 2 minutes, maybe. So you had an 8-man rotation in a game 7. Brett Brown legitimately tried everything he did, and you were the basketball gods just said no to you. That's what happened in that game 7 against Kawhi Leonard. Like you were that close away from beating Kawhi Leonard, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka, Marcus Gasol. You're telling me Brett Brown could have outcoached the team made of Trae Young, a broken down Bojan Bogdanovic, a John Collins, and a Clint Capella? You're telling me Brett Brown couldn't do that? Because, and me saying this all right now is just making me realize how much of a just disaster Doc Rivers coached against these freaking Hawks.
Can I say something? I got the minutes breakdown right here from that game. The game.
It was an 8-man rotation, right?
Embiid, yes. Embiid played 45 minutes. Jimmy Butler played practically 43 minutes because he played 42 minutes and 49 seconds. So for practically 43 minutes. Ben played 42 minutes. Tobias played 42 minutes. JJ played 40. James Ennis only played 14. Mike Scott only played 10. And Greg Monroe played 1 minute and 41 seconds.
So you had a 7-man rotation.
Yeah, practically a 7-man rotation. And you know
and you had Furkan Korkmaz and James Ennis in suits. Or not James Ennis, I'm sorry. Furkan Korkmaz and Shake Milton in suits.
You know what's sad? You know what's sad too? And it just shows that sometimes you just can't go with the bench in big games like that. Greg Monroe played 1 minute and 41 seconds. He was a -9 plus minus.
And guess what? If it came down to a game 7 like that again, do you think Brett Brown's making that mistake?
No, he's not. He's not playing Dwight Howard. He's not playing
Shake Milton.
Shake Milton. He's not playing those guys. Thibault would be the only one to come off the bench. And Tyrese.
Thibault and Tyrese would be your 7-man rotation.
Probably like 2 minutes of George Hill.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that comes back to the question. Is Brett Brown coaching this roster better than Doc Rivers?
He's not.
He's not.
Oh, yes. Brett Brown is. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Brett Brown is coaching his roster. I think you were saying, is Doc Rivers coaching his roster better than Brett Brown did?
And this goes back to the question by Philly Sports Passion. If we do get rid of Ben, who's to blame next time this happens? We can start looking ourselves in the mirror and realize that it's a team effort, and you can't just run one person out of town. It's a team sport. There we go. Jonathan Zhu beat you to that.
That's his opinion. Nah, but what I would say is it's just in terms of Doc Rivers, and I said this after Paul George and Kawhi lost last year. Everybody was harping on them, and I said, if you really look at Doc Rivers' track record, apart from having 3 Hall of Famers, well, 3 guys who are already in the Hall of Fame, and arguably a 4th in Rajon Rondo, and winning that 1 championship, what else has he actually done as a coach? Actually coached the team.
You want to know what he's done? He's lost the most game 7s in NBA history as a head coach. That's what he's done.
Jimmy, I got this here. And I said, if I'm on a podcast, I want to have this here. You ready for this?
Yeah.
This is Doc Rivers coach teams. In 2009, Celtics up 3-2 on Orlando, lose the series. 2010, Celtics up 3-2 on Lakers in the NBA Finals, lose the series. 2012, Celtics up 3-2 on Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals, lose the series. 2013, Clippers up 3-2 on the Memphis Grizzlies, lose the series. Game 7 was at home. 2014, Clippers blow a 15-point lead in Game 5 versus the OKC Thunder and end up losing the series in 6. 2015, Clippers blow a 3-1 lead to the Houston Rockets led by James Harden and Dwight Howard. 2016, Clippers up 2-0 on the Portland Trailblazers, lose 4 straight, lose the series 4-2. 2017, lose a Game 7 at home to the Utah Jazz led by Gordon Hayward. 2020, Clippers up 3-1 on the Denver Nuggets. We know what happened there. Blow a 3-1 lead. 2021, and at this point, the series hadn't been decided yet, so it says outcome of series to be decided. Sixers blow an 18-point lead in Game 4, blow a 26-point lead in Game 5, and as we know, lose Game 7 at home. That's Doc Rivers' track record for you.
So what you're telling me, basically every single year since the Philadelphia Phillies have been relevant, Doc Rivers has done something egregious as an NBA basketball head coach.
Yet when he got signed, and I tried to warn Sixers fans, they said, oh, you don't know what to talk about. Doc is great. We need to stop letting Doc Rivers get by because he's Doc Rivers. Because of that 2008 run. I'm tired of that. He has done nothing to warrant all of this respect that he gets. Yes, he's a player coach. Yes, he's nice. Yes, he's great for basketball. But is he a great coach?
I think he'd be a great assistant. He'd be a great Sam Cassell.
And I believe Sam Cassell would be a better NBA coach than Doc Rivers at this point.
I agree 100%. Guys, we got 65 watching on YouTube right now. We got 43 likes. Let's get it up to 50. That was our goal.
Go.
That was our goal. Let's keep getting those likes, boys.
You're watching, like it up.
Oh, another thing. I saw it on Twitter, and I just saw it on my YouTube feed. Why was Ben Simmons the only one wearing a mask at the press conference?
He was hiding, bro.
Like, I'm all for the COVID stuff, but when you literally get taken out of the game and you go to the bench, you're not wearing your mask, right? You're literally talking to a Zoom meeting, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you covering your face?
He's hiding, bro.
Oh my God! Somebody just said Jeremy Grant and some picks for Ben Simmons.
Come on, man.
Hey, don't get me wrong. Jeremy Grant played better than Ben Simmons this year. But
Bro, he wouldn't fit.
yeah, it's just fit. But Jeremy Grant's a baller now.
He wouldn't fit with our team though.
He's a process legend.
He is in the Mount Rushmore of process players.
Yes.
Him, TJ McConnell,
Hollis Thompson.
Tony Roten, Hollis. Get the fuck out of here with Hollis Thompson.
Hey,
Justin Anderson.
hey, don't forget about my boy.
Nerlens
Although
Noel.
I am taking everybody from the process years over Trae Young. Isaiah Cannon included.
Jakar Sampson included.
Yes, sir.
Joey Caruso, 2016, when he played for Ben Simmons.
Sergio Rodriguez.
Bro, I don't even remember him, and yeah.
He's the beard.
Weird. The point guard.
He's the real beard.
You know who I'm taking? Like, legitimately. Because I have so much pride. Like, I'm very prideful, right? Very prideful. Love the NBA. I'd rather take Raul Nato over Trae Young.
There you go, Jimmy. Raul. Stop saying Raul. I'm tired of this stuff. It's not no Raul. It's Raul.
Yeah. Ooh, Simmons for Tyler Hero.
Bro.
Simmons and Jimmy down in Miami.
Bro.
There would have to be a three-way trade with that one, Robert.
Tyler Hero sucks. As a Pacers fan, I could confidently say he is a bubble warrior. And if that series wasn't in the bubble, the Pacers would have won and the Heat would have lost in the first round. As we just said, they got swept. I hate the Heat.
How about Duncan Robinson?
Jimmy, you could be Duncan Robinson. Run around screens and just throw it up.
Bro, I never got a screen like set up for me off ball. Ever.
Ain't nobody send a screen for you. Nah, Dinwiddie would be a good pickup.
Yeah, Dinwiddie would be a good pickup.
Somebody said Simmons for Rondo.
But boys, I said this. I knew this was gonna happen, and I tried avoiding it the whole show. And then Xavier opened up Pandora's box, saying, "Give me your dream trade scenario with Ben Simmons." I did not want to talk about Ben Simmons trade scenarios tonight. I wanted to talk about us mourning a putrid Game 7 where our team didn't show up, where the other team wanted it better than us, and now we're out here just getting ready to sell off. Not one of our best players, because he isn't one of the best players. He gives you 50%. You know.
I'll ask you a question. Is Ben Simmons better than Lonzo Ball? Me personally, I don't think so. Lonzo improves every year.
Right now, look, I'll answer it like I answered you yesterday with who did you ask me yesterday? You asked me who was better.
Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, you asked me who's a better basketball player right now, Donovan or Ben? I said Donovan Mitchell is clearly the better basketball player right now, but I'd still rather build the team with Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that I feel like the mental part of his game can just be removed, and he will start being aggressive. We all know he has the jump shot. We all do.
Lonzo showed some real strides this year. Like his jumper, I think he shot like in the high 30% from three this year.
Yeah,
he showed a lot more aggression this year. I like the way he played. I want him out of New Orleans though, because I don't understand why you have a young point guard like Lonzo Ball and get Eric Bledsoe next to him. One of the worst basketball
players. I have a question, boys. What do you think about a potential trade Zion for Ben and a few picks?
I don't think Zion and Joe would work together.
Like I said, unless you're giving up Ben, Dr. J, Liberty Bell, because I'm telling you, they're not giving up Zion for Ben Simmons. They would have to literally get LeBron James for Zion. That's how much they value Zion. Their organization, they might as well be the New Orleans Zions because they're relying on Zion to bring them back.
Tom, I roasted Joe, or I roasted Ben. I said I was wrong. It's just I don't want to just jump to the fact that we're just going to trade him for pennies on the dollar. I can't get that through my skull. I feel like there's smarter ways to approach this. Maybe try and get rid of a Tobias, find a legitimate 2-guard or a legitimate point guard, and try and build with Ben and Joe still, because we said it all season. Ben and Joe can win basketball games together. They are still only 24 and 26 years old.
Somebody said that would have won that game for y'all.
Well, all right. Look, I just feel like a lot of shit hit the fan with this basketball team, and Ben Simmons has a lot to do with it. But Doc Rivers is right in his corner, and Brett Brown would have won us. As being the head coach, we would have won this series if Brett Brown was the head coach. And I'll stand by that until the day I die.
So what we're saying is we need to bring Brett back. We need to bring Brett Brown back.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that Doc Rivers is a big reason as to why we lost the series. He cost us the series with the way he babied Ben. Like you, me, Evan, Tom, we're not in that locker room day in and day out. We're not Ben Simmons' boss. Doc Rivers is his boss. You need to get through to him. And he clearly didn't.
Stop babying him. And I said at the beginning of the season, I just want Ben to be Ben. Oh, I see nothing. I'm not going to force Ben to do anything. That's like, what's that word I'm looking for? Where you're allowing somebody to continue to do like a bad habit.
Insanity.
Yeah, it's just bad. Like that's not going to get him any better.
It's doing the same thing over and over again, and it's expecting different results.
Exactly.
It's insanity.
And it makes no sense. And you know this hasn't worked before. Why aren't you on him about it? You know why he's not on about it? Because Doc is so focused on being a player's coach, having a good rep with all of his players. And then when shit hits the fan, he wants to go and start blaming them. When he put no pressure on them, he didn't put them on the fire. He didn't say, Ben, get to shooting. You know how Brett Brown used to say, I want him to shoot. He would come out on the media and say, I want Ben Simmons to shoot. We tell him all the time to shoot. And everybody used to kill Brett for that. I used to love it when Brett Brown would say that. Because at least he's putting pressure on Ben. Look, I'm telling the media I told you to shoot, and you're still not doing it.
And that's another thing I was wrong about. Ben literally just put that to the side and said, I'm not going to shoot. I'm afraid to fail. I don't want to fail. I don't want to be a failure. Well, guess what, Ben? You failed us. You failed everybody, including yourself.
And I said it. I will not tolerate another Sixers fan talking down on Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because all Sixers fans came at Giannis Antetokounmpo and said that, oh, he's not a winner. He's not this. He's not that. Giannis has played in one of the greatest games of all time. Airballed 2 free throws in that game. And still attacking. And still ended with 40 points.
Yeah. I want to get to a few comments before we close out the show. We appreciated everybody tonight. We do need to find that too. Whether it's keeping Ben or keeping Tobias, one of them two have to go. If this roster stays the same after what happened yesterday, if the coach stays the same after what happened yesterday, that's just bad news. You can't let that happen.
I can assure you, with Daryl Morey being in the front office for y'all, shit is gonna change.
Yeah, we need that too. And Bobby Eagles, I still believe this convo would be way different if Danny played. We win the last 2, no doubt. Ben and the bench cost us. This is what I got to say to that before you go, John. It was going to happen eventually. Unless you won the finals this year, this conversation was going to happen eventually.
And I would say Sixers aren't the only person that lost a key player.
Yeah.
Hawks practically lost 3 for the last 2 games. And not only that, eventually the flaws were going to show. I've been saying I said it on Twitter after that Wizards game. The flaws aren't going to show when you're playing the Washington Wizards. But when you play a Milwaukee or a tough team, they're going to show. Imagine how I would. You think you're going to beat Milwaukee the way y'all were playing against Atlanta? Hell no. It's not happening. Because Milwaukee matches up way better with the
Here's the thing. You can't go series to series in the NBA. You know that.
Yeah, but who matches up better with the Sixers? the Hawks or the Bucks? Hawks have one good guy back to me.
Well, here's the thing. We thought it was going to be a cakewalk. We literally, like, you could see it in Game 4 and Game 5 when you blew those leads. We thought it was going to be a cakewalk. We were way better than them. You saw it in the first quarter.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Age got the best of you, and the other team wanting it more got the best of you. Like, I know the Hawks are as young as us, but Joe and Ben, they were just expecting to win. They were. They were expecting to win, and Doc was enabling that.
The hard work didn't meet the talent. They didn't grind for it. They didn't want it as bad as the Hawks wanted it.
Tommy, this is John. I went to school with him. He's my boy. He's been on a few times. He is a 1 for 4 in Philly. He loves the Eagles, and then he just got confused with the other 3 sports. Well, other 2 sports. Not really a hockey fan, right, John?
But I don't hate on the other teams. I speak rationally on them. That's what I'd say. But I appreciate it, Tom. I appreciate it so much. And shout out to the like goal. I see that we reached 50. Shout out to everybody for showing love.
Yes, sir. All right, boys. It was a great show. John, thank you for coming on to the show. We appreciate it. You're welcome anytime. Ev, I'm glad that you were able to gloat in front of my face today. I hope you got your wish. I'm just messing with you. Okay, now I'm not messing with you. Now I'm not messing with you.
Thanks for spilling for that, bro.
Nah, Evan, I know, Evan, I know you're a true Philly fan. It's just sometimes your points can just get to me in a way that just it just triggers me, to be completely honest.
Hey, that's why we're on a podcast together, buddy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was always going to work out, right?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody coming through.
Yes, sir. We appreciate all of you. Have a great night, boys. We'll see you next week.
Take care.